What's up, guys? We are back with another video, and this time it is for UFC San Diego. We got Cruz fighting in his hometown against Marlon Chito Vera, and it is nice to see Chito Vera get in the main event. I know a lot of people like to see it. He's kind of been a dark horse in the division, and definitely going to be a big test for him against Cruz, who's really only lost the champion. So, great main event. We also have David Onama getting a bit of a step up against Nate Landwehr. He is coming in as a big favorite, but Landwehr is a step up in my opinion. And some good sleeper fights. It's a low-key card, but it is a good one. Before we get into it, make sure you leave a like on the video, leave a comment, click subscribe, turn your post notifications on, and all my links for socials will be in the caption below. I will be live on Twitch this Saturday, as always. So if you want to come through and watch the fights with us, get some live betting going, come through. The link's in the caption. Also, I will be tweeting out all my bets, as always. My Twitter is in the caption below as well. With that out of the way, real quick, last week, made a profit. Wasn't a perfect week. We did miss out on Luque Neal goes to decision. We had the women's fights going to decision, so those broke. But the 3 parlays with Hill all cashed. Hill and Spivak, Hill and Pantoja from the week before, and Hill and Nunes Pena over 1.5 from the week before. Those all cashed, so that made it a profitable night. Hill definitely came through. I figured it'd be a late finish. I actually called a 4th round TKO, so, a little pat on the back. All good. Thiago, it's been a rough run for him, but it was a tough matchup. I'm sure, the UFC will still give him another one, even though he's obviously on a skid here. But, he's fought nothing but the best, so give him a step down in competition. Let's give him a little rebound fight. But all that out of the way, man, let's get into the first fight of the night. First up, we got Youssef Zalal making his comeback. Bit of a layoff, man. This guy usually stays super active. When he first came to the UFC, he had 3 wins, 3 fights, all in 6 months. And then, big step up against Topuria, loses the decision to Sung Woo Choi, and then loses a very close decision, which I honestly thought he might have edged out to Sean Woodson. Got some good control time in, actually outstruck Woodson, but Woodson did land the more damaging blows. I actually have faded Zalal a couple 2 of those 3. I think the Topuria I definitely did. I actually made some good money on that one. And then I think the Sung Woo Choi fight, I faded him as well. So don't remember if I bet against him in the Woodson fight. I think I just took the over. But so I've been doing pretty good betting on Zalal fights. And I actually do think this is a pretty tougher matchup than I think like most people would say when they first saw this matchup. I mean, Damon Blackshear here is pretty legit. I went through the tape because I'm not going to lie, I wasn't super familiar with him. Fighting over at CFFC. Not obviously not the greatest opponents before the UFC, but some decent opponents. I mean, has a loss to Pat Sabatini, one of his losses, and then Chris Moutinho, not the greatest loss, but I mean, hey, another UFC fighter. And definitely a great grappler. Gonna have some trouble taking him down, Zalal will, I'm sure. Damon, tough to take down, for Zalal, I think, to work his submission game. I do think on the feet, Zalal, he doesn't throw a ton of volume sometimes. I mean, he does like to kind of point fight a little bit, but the problem with that is he doesn't throw a ton of volume, so I can get him into, these really close fights. I do feel like he mixes it up a little bit better than Blackshear. I just feel like Zalal, man, also, it should be noted, man, this man's 25, he's training at Factory X, and I actually like the layoff. Like, if he was 35 and he was somebody who typically stays active and now he's taking a layoff, then I get a little sketched out. But you got a 25-year-old guy, almost 26, training at a great gym, super high-level coaches and training partners. For him to take a nice little layoff here, I actually think it really helps a guy at his age and at his part of the growth in his fighting, especially coming off a couple losses, some close decisions. I think that's the perfect time to okay, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to work with my coaches. I'm going to train hard. A guy at his age, and obviously Damon's probably improving a ton too, but there's just a difference in the camps here. And, the experience, the training partner experience, the coaches. I just feel like Zalal should be a little bit bigger of a favorite. And I did get on him here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I got Zalaw. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I actually need to pull this up while I'm talking so I can try to get some of my bets already made. But I do think he should be the favorite. I mean, he is by a little bit, but I could see that line being a little wider. And I do think there's still value on that. I was kind of taking an eye out on the line. It hasn't moved a ton, but he started out as a little bit bigger of a favorite. Looks like some people have started to come in on Zalaw, and then it's coming back up. So minus 125. I mean, it looks like most of the lines started it pretty much even. So I do think that Zalaw at minus 125, some good value. Just really good at mixing it up, using his striking right into getting a couple takedowns. And I think Zalaw gonna have a little tough time getting Blackshear down, but I think he can take him down once or twice. And I think on the feet he'll just land a little bit more. I don't love Blackshear striking, so I'm gonna go with Zalaw. More experience. I'm sure he's gonna come in looking the best we've seen. With this layoff, I really do stand by. I think it's going to be a positive thing for him. So I'm going to go Zalaw. Not much of a finisher, though, so I will go Zalaw by decision. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we got a fight I broke down last week, so I won't go too long on this one. It's going to be a very similar breakdown to last week. Jason Witt, not much of a chin, not great durability. Has been knocked out, 7 times? 6 times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times and submitted twice. So, can definitely be finished. Quinlan here did pop last week. They said they hit him with the old picogram situation where they were like, okay, there's something in your system, but in San Diego, you're totally good to go. So they just pushed it back a week, and it is something to be noted that in his last fight, he did get the win in the first round, but popped, and I think he just straight up acknowledged it, like admitted to it. So that's something to think about. Is he going to look different? Is he going to have the same cardio? Not that he has needed it in a lot of these fights, getting these early finishes. I mean, he has 2 late finishes as well, but not to the highest of level competition. But I do think he will clip the chin of Jason Witt at some point. I do think the 180 catch weight, since they pushed it back a week, could help Jason Witt. Less weight to cut. I do think he is, Quinlan might have the bigger frame, but I think Jason Witt's wrestling, and, I think the weight cut can be a little tough for him, which doesn't help his durability. So, maybe that just gives Quinlan a little extra oomph to his shots. But I also do think it could help the durability of Witt. I'm still going to go Quinlan by KO. Just can't trust Witt's chin durability at this point. But wouldn't be shocked if he was able to wrestle this, Josh up for 2 rounds. Only 5 pro fights. Coming off Dana White Contender Series, I don't blame you if you want to fade him. But I'm going to still go with Josh Quinlan by KO. Next up, we got Odi Osborne taking on Tyson Nam. And, Tyson Nam, we know what we're going to get here. He is a 38, almost 39-year-old flyweight. So it's tough at the lighter weight classes, man, because, everything relies on your speed, your athleticism, your reflexes. You need that at these lower weight classes especially. And I do think, he's getting a little up there for flyweight. And, he's already a guy who kind of relies on his power, doesn't throw a lot of volume. And even then, it's like, in the Matt Schnell fight, lost that split decision. I definitely had Matt Schnell winning that fight. And, Matt Schnell is somebody who hasn't had the greatest durability, and Tyson Nam hit him with, some of his best shots and wasn't able to really hurt him, enough to finish him. And, you can put out Jerome Rivera and Zaruk Adeshev out, but, when he's fighting these upper-level guys, it typically doesn't work out for him. Is Odi Osborne an upper-level guy? He has had some cardio issues himself, but is Nam going to push a pace that gets him tired? I don't know, and I do think Odi Osborne is the better grappler. I think he has the more ways to get it done. I think he also has power. He could mix in a takedown or 2. He could, have some decent clinch work up against the cage. And I just think has the momentum. He should be a big. I mean, I think the line is pretty accurate. I just feel like he's the more versatile, the more well-rounded fighter, and he's 30, which at flyweight again does mean something. I mean, it always means something. But if this was heavyweight, 38, perfect. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But 30 flyweight to 38, that is something to be noted. And he's got the reach, he's got the strength, in my opinion. He's got the wrestling advantage. So I'm gonna go Odie Osborne. I think there's multiple. I mean, Nam's been very durable. That's one thing that you got to give him. I'm going to lean Osborne by decision, but I do think a finish is possible. It's just not something I would bank on. Next up, we got Gabriel Benitez taking on Charlie Ontiveros. And, man, I know we've talked a lot about Jason Witt's durability, but we got to be real, man. Charlie Ontiveros, I mean, I really, me, I like to be respectful to all these guys. And, I mean, he's very skilled. He's a huge guy for the division. He's very skilled as far as his striking. Like, his striking's dangerous, man. He could definitely catch Benitez, who hasn't been looking great. But on paper, it's like, you got to understand why Benitez is a big favorite. Charlie Ontiveros is a guy who has been TKO, KO'd 8 times. All of his losses have been by finish. I've literally seen him get hit and just wave off the fight. And I mean, hey, I don't knock guys as much as some others when it comes to quitting. Live to fight another day. It's really your coach's job, and I really wish we could change that dynamic in MMA where coaches feel like they can't stop a fight because their athlete is gonna fire them, or the MMA media will tear them up. It's like, man, Chael Sonnen says it best, and I will always give him credit for this. A coach should stop a fight when his athlete can no longer win, not when his athlete is half dead. Like, especially when you got these young guys, like people. I mean, Max Roskopf was one and done in the UFC. Was a huge prospect. After he quit on he took a short notice, did a ton of wrestling, gassed out, and then quit on the stool. I don't know how a better way to put it. And then they basically chased him out of the UFC. And it's like, he's a young guy, took the fight on short notice. He knew the fight was over. He was not going to win. Why take more damage? Like, this isn't baseball. I love, baseball, but this ain't baseball. You're taking punches to the head. You're taking shins to the head, elbows to the head. This isn't a game. This is not a game. Fighting is not a game. And the second you're not going to win the fight, you shouldn't have to, stay on the stool. It should be your coaches that say, you're down, you're not going to win this fight, you're gassed, you're tired, you're hurt, you're only taking more damage, I'm stopping the fight. You don't have to like it. And because you can't trust a cage fighter to know his limits. They got to the position they're at because they are tougher than 99% of the world. That being said, Charlie Ontiveros, he does have a durability problem. I've also seen him specifically eat a body kick, and it was just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've ate body kicks, I've ate liver shots where you just shut down. It doesn't matter if you are Robbie Lawler, it doesn't matter if you're the toughest guy on earth. You get hit in the liver, and your body shuts down. But I've seen Charlie Ontiveros been very susceptible to the body kick. We've heard Gabriel Benitez, anytime he fights, what does everybody talk about this man? His body kicks are absolutely brutal. So I could see that being a, fight-ending blow for Benitez. I could just see in general, in that first round, I mean, Benitez can get finishes later too. His gas tank has been a little bit more of an issue lately. But I do think Benitez gets it done. I think he will have a little too much firepower for Ontiveros to handle. Ontiveros, good offense, good striking on the feet, but, just the defense, the striking defense, the durability, has not looked good. I got Gabriel Benitez. I got him KO, most likely in the first round. I did bet a little something on Ontiveros by KO. But, yeah, I will be taking a look at, I was trying to look at the unders, but, on the off chance Ontiveros is able to catch him, Benitez hasn't been looking great. But at the end of the day, man, the the bookies are on that under. So I went ahead and just took Benitez, and I'm trying to find the line. I did take Benitez by KO minus 130, minus 136. So I don't like laying chalk on props like that, but I really do feel like this is a nice get back spot for Benitez. If he can't win this fight, let alone really, honestly, in my opinion, get the finish, I really just think, man, this is a guy who really, like, I don't know. It's just, on paper, it's like there's no way that he should lose this fight. And if you're going to beat Ontiveros, it's probably going to be by TKO KO, especially when you have the firepower Benitez does. So I'm going to go KO for Benitez. Let's move on. Next fight, we have the pass of all passes. Nina Nunes taking on Cynthia Calvillo. Real quick, because I'm not going to, if you bet this, you are insane. I did take the over, though. I did take the over, and even then, I should kind of give myself a little shit for that, because I just couldn't help it, but I do feel like this fight goes the over. I actually start with Cynthia, because the reason that the over is a little scary is, she is coming off 2 finished losses, but one to beat to Jessica Andrade, which I was all in on Andrade that night. I was like, there is absolutely zero chance she loses this fight. Cynthia has to take her down. She's not going to be able to take down short, stocky, little powerhouse Andrade, and then on the feet she's going to get blasted. Sure enough, first round finish. Andrea Lee made her quit. I mean, she got tired, and we saw it. Like I just said, I'm not going to give her shit for that, but it is a red flag. It was her last fight. It's something to think about. The cardio didn't look great. She couldn't get her wrestling going, so she didn't have a plan B, and that was it. And this fight, as long as she doesn't gas to the point of, not wanting to come out for the round 3, I really don't see a finish happening. That's why I did bet the over. Because Nina Nunes coming off a long layoff. She's got the kid now. She's coming off that loss to Mackenzie Dern, where, getting subbed by Mackenzie Dern is nothing to, scoff at. But she did get taken down by Dern, which you don't see often. But, her last losses are to 2 ridiculous grapplers, Mackenzie Dern and Tatiana Suarez. And she actually gave Suarez a good fight. So, the layoffs does scare me. For Cynthia, she hasn't been looking great. She did most of her good work at 115. At 125, it hasn't been great. Both of these fighters have a ton of red flags. But I am going to lay with the dog. Both have red flags. But I actually do feel like at 125, Cynthia is just not the same as 115. And I really do feel like 125... Nina Nunes, I know she's coming off the layoff. I know she hasn't been looking great, but tough competition, man. And not that Andrea Lee's not tough too, but I don't know, man. I'm going to go with the dog, especially because she is a dog. Dog or pass. I would not bet it. For you guys who be like, oh, even though Cody said don't bet it and this is a pass, I'm going to go ahead and just bet his picks and then be mad at him if they don't win. It's like, you guys typically don't do that, but some of you guys do get mad. And I'm like, if I don't bet it, I'm not confident. And especially if I go out of my way to say it's a pass and not to bet it, then blame yourself if you bet it. This is a pass all day. So many red flags. I will go with the underdog Nunes. I will take her by decision. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we got Lukas Brzezinski. And he's taking on Martin Buday. Both these guys, kind of similar, good, decent grapplers. Martin Buday in his last fight was kind of weird. But both these guys will definitely throw though. Both have power. I just feel like Buday, they fight similar, like a little similar. Like both decent grapplers, but power in their hands, explosive. But I just feel like the weight's gonna be an issue, man. He's gonna have 30 pounds on Brzezinski. And Buday, in his last fight, it was a little weird with Barnett, but Barnett just didn't want to be in there anymore. He was putting it on him. He was beating him up. And, that was still a good win in my opinion. Barnett is obviously very, very low-level heavyweight. He's fun, but let's be real. And, I think Buday's still pretty good. I know people kind of got off the train, but, his one loss is to Juan Espino, who is just an absolute beast. So you can't give him too much shit for that. As far as Brzezinski, this is a big step up. Some decent fighters on the regional scene for sure, but I just feel like, 235, he's not a heavyweight, And I just feel like, Martin Buday is going to be able to put him on the cage, land some decent shots on the feet, make it dirty box him up against the cage. And then I think if he wants to get a couple takedowns, he can. I just think, I got the hiccups, I'm so sorry. It's gone, no more hiccups now. I think 30 pounds, man, it can work for you depending on the styles. But, if you're a Brzezinski, I just feel like, you're fighting a guy who's basically a bigger you. And I also feel like Buday is just a little bit more skilled. It is a hefty line to pay for middling heavyweights, but I did bet Buday, and let's see, I did bet him, parlayed up with Benitez from earlier. I got minus 132 on that, and I know this is scary, heavyweights, but hey, I got him, Buday, when he was minus 260 or minus 265. I parlayed him up with Usman on next week's card too, because I just needed a parlay piece for Usman. You guys know me. I go heavy on Usman every time he fights. Usman has made me lots and lots of money, so I'm going to keep going with that. So I have Buday and 2 parlays, which is a little scary, I'm not going to lie. But I needed a better line than what Benitez was giving me. And, I do think there's a chance he could get caught. Benitez, he hasn't been looking great. Actually, surprisingly, a little bit more confident in Buday here, especially with the better line. So I do have him parlayed in 2 parlays, which is a little scary, but for a middling heavyweight. But I do feel like it's his fight to lose. Next up, we got another pass for me, that's for sure. Angela Hill versus Lupita Godinez. And don't get me wrong, I do have Godinez. Seems like we're coming towards the, bit of a decline from Angela Hill. I mean, some of these fights are close. I actually thought she beat Amanda Lemos. The Tisha Torres fight kind of went exactly how I thought. And she stuck in there. At least her submission defense looked a lot better against Verna. Wasn't able to submit her. But, you could say she won the Claudia fight. You could say she won the Michelle Waterson fight. These fights are close, man. She's just getting edged out in these decisions. And I do think the wrestling for Lupita will help her edge this decision. I do have this fight to go the distance. I'm pretty confident in that one. Angela Hill's submission defense, as I said, has been a lot better, and not much of a finisher herself. I don't think Lupita will definitely. I just don't see her KOing her, so I really don't see how a finish happens, unless maybe she can get to Angela's back, but I don't really see that happening. She's able to defend submissions from Claudia and Verna Jandiroba, so I do have fight to go to decision parlayed up with Odie Osborne from earlier. I meant to say that. So that is how I took this fight. I will take Lupita to win by decision, and that will be it. That is not one that I would pay minus 300 on, though. Lupita, still a little bit of a step up for her. I know Angela is 37, hasn't been looking great, but she fights tough girls. But next up, we got Gerald Meerschaert taking on Bruno Silva. And this is definitely a style clash, that's for sure. You have the jiu-jitsu submission artist, Gerald Meerschaert, most submissions in the division. And against Bruno Silva, who is just, literally look at this guy. KO, 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 KO. I think all these are KOs, too, that don't have the method of victory. Literally, all his wins are just KO. If he beats you, he knocks you out. And I do think, again, in this matchup, man, it's going to be a tough matchup for Gerald Meerschaert, considering, he's got good jiu-jitsu, and it should be noted, Bruno Silva's losses are all by submission. So, I get, the thought. But it is going to be scary because Gerald Meerschaert's wrestling is not good. It is not good at all. And, it's going to be tough for him to get Bruno Silva down, who's a big, strong guy with big power. That's going to be really tough for him to get down. But if he can get him down, the submission is definitely live. And I did put a little flyer because we know there is absolutely no chance Gerald knocks Bruno out. There is no chance he wins the decision. He either submits Bruno Silva or he loses. So I did throw a little sprinkle, which, my pick is Bruno Silva by KO. He's probably just going to sprawl and brawl, take Gerald's head off. Honestly, I'll take him first round KO. But on the off chance he knocks Gerald down and he follows him to the ground thinking, I'm a black belt, I'll be all right here to pound him out, and he's going to get latched up into a submission, not something I would typically bet, but plus 600, Gerald's only path to victory, I did throw a little sprinky sprink on that. I'm thinking about, Bruno by KO, but the line is just not great. I probably will have to throw a little something on it because to have money, my only money on the fight on Gerald just seems wrong when I just seriously, just in my head, I just see him getting sparked out. But yeah, plus 600 on his only path to victory. I mean, why would you pay plus 240 when you can just pay plus 600 and, his only way to win is going to be latching up a sub. So I will take Bruno Silva by KO, but I do think there's a little bit of value on plus 600 Gerald Meerschaert by sub. Next up, we got Ariana Lipski taking on Priscilla Cachoeira, another fight that got pulled off last week, and so I'm not going to break it up long. Cachoeira, not the most technical, just really a brawler. Not a big fan of her after her eye gouging the shit out of Jillian Robertson. Surprised they gave her, if you're going to keep her around, give her terrible matchups and punish her for that. I'm sorry, but it's just, I would have liked to see her get punished for that. But, I do think Lipski, the more technical fighter, the better grappler. Cachoeira just has power. Basically every other realm of the fight, I think Lipski is better in the clinch, on the feet, on the ground, better submissions, better, technical striker. Just got to watch out from the power of Priscilla Cachoeira. That being said, I'm going to take Lipski. I'm going to take Lipski by decision. Cachoeira is pretty tough. Short and sweet for that one. We broke it down last week. Next up, we got Devin Clark taking an Azamat Mirzakhanov. And early on, I'm not going to lie, I was thinking about a dog shot, Devin Clark. He's a grinder. He wants to put you on the cage, wear you out, drag you to the ground a couple times. If not, just hold you up against the cage, make it ugly. And I thought there was a chance maybe he could do that. I wasn't super impressed with Mirzakhanov's debut against Tafon. He was definitely losing that fight, and then gives Tafon the flying knee and puts him out. That being said, I went through the tape, man, and I just can't take a dog shot on Devin Clark here. I'm actually almost at this point hoping that the line comes down a little bit more than it is, so I can put a little something on Azamat. Not something I'd love to bet, after his last performance, but I just feel like Devin Clark's gonna have a tough time using his game plan, stylistically, putting Azamat on the cage, grinding him, getting him down. It's gonna be tough, man. He's got good sambo, good wrestling, and I just feel like Azamat can keep it on the feet, and then on the feet, man, he's just got much more power, much more dangerous in general on the feet. I think he's going to clip Devin Clark with something here. Probably put him out. I don't know if it's going to be a flashy flying knee again, but I could definitely see him knocking him out. Devin Clark, just not a ton of firepower on the feet, really wants to grind you out, and I think it's going to be tough for him to grind out Azamat. I know he was at heavyweight in his last fight, but against the, a very favorable matchup on Will Knight. Neither guy should be fighting at heavyweight, but, I just feel like, it's going to be tough to implement his game plan against Azamat. I'm going to take Azamat, KO. I think Devin Clark's going to get a little tired trying to wrestle him, and then he's really not going to have a plan B, and if that doesn't work, I think he's going to get sparked out. So I'm going to take Azamat by KO. Let's move on. Next up, we got the Battle of the Yasmines. Yasmin Warregi. Oh my God. The shitty part is I fucking practiced saying this, and I was like, I'm going to get it right. Warregi. Something like that. Yasmin. I literally had it. It's what happens every time. Because I was like, man, why is it got to be at the end of the card? First of all, why is this at the top of the card? I don't know. Is that a mistake? Hold on. I don't know if I've ever done this, but we got to check it right now. Is that... Okay, I can't spell. Is that... it's really that high on the card. Why? I don't get it. Why? What I know you got to have the women's fight on the main card. That's just what the UFC does. You got to have at least one women's fight on the main card, but, put the Lipski fight on. I mean, the Lipski fight is on there. Whoops, I was thinking it was the prelim headliner. Yeah, I don't know why. This should literally be, way down here. I would rather have the Nina Nunes, Cynthia Calvillo. I mean, no, I wouldn't, actually. I mean, they have the name value at least, but, these girls, I mean, okay. I mean, all right. Yasmin, I mean, these girls are good, though. Don't get me wrong. Lucindo here, only 20 years old. And seems like more of a grappler, wants to get on top of you, ground and pound you. Pretty legit. I mean, definitely super young. Made her debut at 15. But Warregi, here. Waregu. Oh my God, I can't remember how I pronounce it. I just repeated the announcer saying it like 5 times and, still butcher it. All good. So far, though, man, I mean, she seems like the more complete fighter. Better striking for sure. I mean, at least from what we've seen. Obviously, questionable competition for both of them. I mean, as to be expected, regional scene, lower level women's MMA, but, gonna be Mexico versus Brazil. I'm actually definitely gonna go with the favorite in this one. I think if she can keep it on the feet, she's gonna look like the much better striker. I think the grappling is not nearly as much of a discrepancy as the striking. I don't know, and I just think Lucindo is definitely both these girls are young, but 20. I think she's still obviously got a lot to learn. She still has more fights, good experience for a freaking 20-year-old. But I am gonna go with Waregi. Not something I would ever bet. And I'm absolutely butchering that name and it's bothering me, but sorry about that. Hopefully you get a good win, and then I'll never forget it. But give me in the battle of the Yasmines. We're gonna go with Waregi, and let's move on to the co-main. And I will take her by decision. Let's move on to the co-main event. We got David Onama taking on Nate Landwehr. And man, early on I was really hoping that I could get to a underdog shot on Nate the Train. I am a fan of this guy, man. His styles, he just doesn't have boring fights. He comes forward, volume, doesn't get tired. The cardio's on point. The pressure, the pace. He just gets people tired and he overwhelms them. I think that's a tough style to fight against David Onama, who just has so much power. I think his counter striking is really good. He's training over at Glory MMA. Nate is training at MMA Masters, 2 good gyms, but I do feel like David Onama, 28 years old, only loss was that really good fight with Mason Jones, who I know hasn't been looking great lately, but, that was a good fight, and he came in. I'm pretty sure that was short notice, too. And then he beat Gabriel Nites, who we talked about earlier, and then he had a bit of a layup in that Armfield fight, but hey, he went in, did what he should do, showed that he's versatile, showed he's not just a striker, he's got good grappling. I think Nate, though, has really good takedown defense, like 88%, so I don't see David Onama really being able to go to that game plan. But I do feel like unless Nate can really get him tired, which we haven't really seen David Onama have a cardio issue yet, I think it's going to be tough for him, man. David just has a little bit more firepower. His counter-striking's on point. And I just feel like, with the kicks, just a little bit more tools in the shed. And I do think he should be a favorite. The line is a little wide. That's why I am a little tempted to take Nate, maybe Nate by decision. I think there's value. I get it. Not that, Nate can't finish him if he were to win, but I think if I were to bet it, I might just take Nate to get him tired, not be able to finish Onama, who showed insane toughness. But unless he were to fall off the table with his cardio, I don't think he's going to get finished. If he were to, if I were to bet it, I would take Nate by decision. I think the line is a little too wide for me to be taking Onama. Nate is no pushover. He is not somebody I want to bet a lot of guys against him at 3-1 odds. The man is a dog. He's going to fight for your money. So if you're taking a little something on Nate, he's not if you're going to bet an underdog who this man don't give a shit if he is a 10-1 underdog. Yo, if you don't know who Nate Landwehr is, go watch some shit on him. Go watch his fights. Go watch his little promo videos on YouTube. This man is gonna go out there and he don't give a shit. He don't know what these odds are, and if he does, you ain't gonna think he knows when you see how he fights. He's gonna be confident. He's gonna come forward. He's gonna try to march Onama down. And hey, man, I would not be shocked, but I am gonna go with Onama. I'm not gonna be able to pick the underdog. I haven't got around to taking a shot on him yet. But yeah, minus 280 though for Onama. That is a bit of a stretch. I do think he gets it done though. I will take him. I actually do think he probably will clip the chin of Nate and finish him. I'm gonna take Onama TKO second round. Moving into the main event, man, and I'm really into this fight, man. I am really into this fight so much so that we are bringing back the dabs. I've been talking to some sponsors, so I've tried to clean up. I don't know. But it's 2022. If you're against weed, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, main event time. Marlon Vera taking on Dominic Cruz in his hometown. 5 rounds, and I've always said Cheeto was going to excel in 5 rounds. I have always said that. But this is a step up and a half. Marlon Vera, man, he's been looking really good. Hasn't lost since Jose Aldo, and Jose Aldo had to really dig deep, man. Showed why he is one of the GOATs. Had to go out there and grapple, which you never see. And people, will turn him into a wrestler. It's like, it's MMA, bro. Like, he'd be dumb not to use his advantage. The whole point of MMA is use my strengths against your weaknesses. Not that Cheeto can't grapple, but hey, Jose saw an opening and he used it. And I think he also caught him off guard. We saw in the Song Yadong fight, he tends to lose the early rounds. We see that in all his fights, really. So if you like Cheeto, not a bad idea to get a better line and hope that he drops that first round. And Dominic Cruz, who's, his style typically takes a little bit to get used to. Maybe you could wait till after the first round and bet Cheeto live, who tends to drop the early rounds. But Dominic Cruz, man, I'm hearing too many people say like he's washed and this and that, and I will say, 37 at 135 is tough because again, at reflexes, speed, these are the things that matter the most at these lower weight classes. But it's like, man, you go through his losses. He's lost to what? One of the GOATs in Henry Cejudo. And, at the time, Cody Garbrandt was an absolute beast. Undefeated, hadn't been touched, was looking flawless. And I honestly think, it was a tough stylistic matchup. And Cody came in with the perfect game plan. And I honestly think that Cruz got caught a little off guard and then got down on the cards and then got a little desperate. And it made the fight look more of a beatdown than it would have. Because Dominic Cruz isn't used to being down rounds like that. So he was coming forward and he was getting countered. And he was being forced to come forward and take a lot more chances than he typically does. And Cody, one thing he's always had is insane speed, great counter shots, and big power. And he made Dom pay, man. And the Cejudo fight, it's like that's one of the GOATs. Like Cejudo, I still think honestly is probably the best 135er in the world. I think he beats everybody. Obviously, if he's healthy, if is training hard, I think he's the best 135er and 125er in the world. Not that he could probably make 125 anymore, but if he was, I think he'd be the champ at either of these weight classes. I get he's cringe, I get he's annoying sometimes, but you're a fool if you don't think Cejudo is one of the best 25er, 35ers we've ever seen. I get we haven't seen him at 35 a lot. I mean, obviously, but Henry Cejudo is a fucking beast. And also that finish, I'm not super mad at it, but it's like 2 seconds left. He was getting up. I get he might have just took more damage, but and I get Cejudo's probably going to win that fight, but I'm just saying people are like, oh, he just got finished. It's like, oh, to the potential, one of the GOATs, and it was a weird stoppage. He went in there, beat Casey Kenny. I don't think that should have been a split. I mean, obviously all that means is one of the judges disagreed. Some people think split means it was closer than a regular unanimous. It just means the judges didn't agree. But I don't see how you awarded that fight to Casey Kenny. It was competitive, but I thought Dom easily won 2 of those rounds. And then the Pedro fight, just showed his championship elite. He showed why he is so good. Why Dominic Cruz is, there is no argument, the best 135er of all time. And real quick, people are acting like there's an argument there. Give me an argument. Let me know in the comment below who is even in the argument for better bantamweight of all time. It's not a fucking debate. It's the only division besides light heavyweight where I guess at least at light heavyweight you can make the debate, oh, well, steroids. You can't make a single argument for 135. Dominic Cruz, most defenses. Dominic Cruz, best resume. Dominic Cruz beat TJ Dillashaw straight up. Dominic, who is really the only other person you could even try to bring up. Also, though, the reason he can't even be in the conversation, TJ popped. Dom Cruz never popped. Dom Cruz, body's never changed. Dom Cruz comes off the couch and gets the belt back over TJ. Like, people are like, oh, that fight was close. Oh, I thought TJ won. Oh, you talking about when Dom Cruz came off the couch, a 2.5-year layoff, and dethroned the champ who people thought nobody was going to touch? Oh, and by the way, TJ was juiced. If you don't think TJ has been juiced his whole career, you're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't even, like, that might be aggressive. You're like, damn. Typically, Cody never calls people out. Okay, well, TJ, I'm going to call you out. Because I was saying that man was juicing since I ever saw him fight. And I won't give him too much shit on the Renan Barão fight. Renan was juiced up to the gills, too. But I've known since the beginning TJ was juicing. If you are an absolute moron if you think TJ only juiced for those last fight or two. He's been juicing the whole time. His body never changed before that. He lost some weight, but the muscle mass, a lot of weight, but the muscle mass, like the way his body looked, his 2-inch long nipples, it is weird dude. That man has been juiced up for a long time. Dom Cruz came off a 2-year layoff and beat up juiced up TJ with the plantar fasciitis too. The only reason the fight even got competitive is because the man could barely stand because his fucking feet were so destroyed. Okay, so now that we've established there is literally no conversation around who is the best bantamweight of all time, it is literally Dom Cruz and Dom Cruz only. And if you don't believe that, or if you have an argument to that, I'm here to let you know you are a casual. Welcome to the sport of MMA, sir. Glad to have you. Good to have you. You're new around here. That being said, only lost to champions. This is a big step up from Cheeto. I know he's very good. He's looking very good. I mean, these are tough competition. It's Dom Cruz, man. And early on, Dom Cruz, Cheeto is a combination puncher. Dom Cruz is a tough guy to hit with more than one shot. If you're sniping him like Cody, especially when Dom's coming forward, that's one thing. But if you think you're going to march Dom down and land combinations, that's going to be tough, man. I think Cheeto needs to really rely on those leg kicks. I think he needs to destroy Dom's legs early. If he doesn't do that, I think Dom's going to style on him a little bit, man. I'm not saying it's going to be a dominant win. But I'm just saying, I think people are sleeping on Dom, man. Minus 240. I think that line's on some books is even higher. That's crazy. You're giving me a 2-1 underdog on the greatest bantamweight of all time. I get he's getting up there. I get he has injuries. I get, Cheeto's looking amazing. He's got the momentum. He's got he's in his prime. He's got the right mindset. I love Cheeto, man. He's dope. He's funny as hell. I love his mentality. He's a savage. But man, you're giving me 2-1 dog odds. He's not gonna finish Cheeto. If anybody gets a finish, it'll be Cheeto. But so many people are telling me, oh, Cheeto by murder, so easy. Yo, I get Cheeto could, but you talking about the guy who, I swear, Cheeto had me yelling at my TV because I had Cheeto inside the distance, and I had a decent amount of money on that, and I swear he had money on himself to win by decision. He was literally standing over Rob when Rob was eyes rolled in the back of his head, and he's taunting him. Do you hate finishes or what's going on? Now, he didn't hate finishes against Frankie Edgar, but Frankie Edgar, I love Frankie. Who doesn't love Frankie? Man, is an absolute legend, but hasn't been looking great for him lately, and he's been taking an astronomical amount of damage. Dom Cruz, man, yeah, but take away the Henry Cejudo fight, it's oh yeah, he's going to get starched easily? It's okay. He didn't even get starched in the Henry Cejudo fight either. He literally got up 0.2 seconds after the fight was called off and was arguing the stoppage. Whether you like it or not, it's he obviously wasn't starched out, so he's never been starched out. And you think people are literally so confident he's going to get just murdered. It's okay. I guess you say that, you make these outlandish claims, so if it happens, you can come on Twitter and be like, I fucking told y'all, bro. Anyways, 2-1 odds. Dom's not going to be the first one to finish Cheeto. So, Dominic Cruz by decision. Okay. Let's see what the line is currently on that, because I've been waiting for more books to drop it. And Dom Cruz by decision, plus 285 on some books. I will take that. I will go ahead and take that. So I'm going to be laying a little something on Dom Cruz by decision. I've been waiting. I'm waiting for everybody to finish putting Cheeto in all their parlays. You know, pop him in all your parlays. I know y'all want that. I know you're trying. Everybody's so confident on Cheeto, and I get it. Again, I see all the advantages. He's got the momentum. He's got the age. He's got the lack of injuries. He's, Dom, you could say, okay, 37 is up there for Bantam. He's slowing down. He's got the injuries. This is Cheeto's time, this and that. I get it. It's 5 rounds. Cheeto, I've always said Cheeto's going to excel in 5-round fights. But you don't want to be dropping round 1, or let alone round 1 and 2, to Dom Cruz. Now, I'm not saying he's going to for sure drop those early rounds, but he does typically drop early rounds. And if you do that to somebody who is with the fight IQ of Dom Cruz, one of the highest fight IQs we've ever seen in the octagon, they call him the decisionator as an insult. It's a compliment. That's telling you, if you don't finish this guy, he's going to beat you. When does he get finished? Uriah Faber had a lucky guillotine. Henry Cejudo had a little sketchy finish. And then Cody Garbrandt was the only one who's really thoroughly just went out there and beat him. Great game plan. Styles make fights. This is a different stylistic matchup. I get he's older. He's got the injuries, this and that. I'm going to go Dom Cruz. I'm going to go Dom Cruz by decision. I'm going with the underdog. I get it. I actually agree that Cheeto should be a favorite. But on paper. But I think Dom Cruz is going to give us one more. I think Dom Cruz is going to surprise a lot of people. I don't think he's going to go in there and just get murdered like everybody thinks. Could Cheeto win? Of course he could. I'm a big Cheeto fan. He's really good. But I think Dom Cruz is going to go in there and, it's going to be shades of the Aldo fight. Obviously in a different way. It's a 5-rounder. Very different styles. But I just say that fight IQ, that experience is going to shine. And Cheeto has plenty of time, man. He's got plenty of time. I do think he has potential to get a belt. But I think he needs a little bit more time. I think Dom Cruz still has it in him. And I'm going to go with the underdog, Dominic Cruz, the Dominator, to decisionate one more time. Give me plus 285, Dominic Cruz by decision. Here are all my picks. I got Dom Cruz by decision, Onama TKO, Waregi decision, Mirzakhanov KO, Lipsky decision, Bruno Silva KO, Godinez decision, Martin Boudet. Did I give you guys a path to victory for that one? Or a prop for that? I'm not going with any props on that one. I think you could finish a lot of different ways. But I'm going to go Boudet TKO. Nina Nunes, underdog by decision. Benitez by KO. Odi Osborne by decision. Quinlan KO. Zalal decision. So I have, just the 2 underdogs? Maybe... Nina Nunes and just the 2 underdogs. Maybe there'll be another one that goes through. Maybe it's the Lucindo fight. That's obviously not one I would be wanting to bet. As far as my bets so far, speaking of which, I have Odi Osborne parlayed up with Angela Hill versus Lupita goes to decision. I have the over 2.5 in the Marlon Vera versus Dominic Cruz fight. If there's going to be a finish, Cheeto would be getting it late, in my opinion. I really don't see Dom finishing him. Maybe he were to get to his back or something. I just don't see it happening. I parlayed the over 2.5 with Marlon Vera versus Dominic Cruz with the fight goes to decision for Cynthia Calvillo and Nina Ansaroff. I got that at plus 102. And by the way, that Angela Hill versus Lupita goes to decision parlayed up with Odie. That was minus 111. I also have Kamaru Usman parlayed up with Budai. And I also, sneak peek in the future, I have Usman parlayed up with Robert Whittaker over Vettori. Went ahead and got that at minus 120. 2 guys I believe in. And I do think Vettori is super tough. Maybe, I'm not saying he couldn't win that, but I definitely going with Robert Whittaker in that. Next up, we got Martin Boudet. Parlayed again, like I said, with Gabriel Benitez, and then I have Gabriel Benitez by KO. Again, I have the sprinkle on Gerald Meerschaert by sub plus 600, and I have Yusuf Zalal minus 125. those are my picks. Those are my bets. That's where I'm at so far. Went a little longer than I intended to, but you know how that is. I rant a little. At least I ranted mostly in the main event. But that's where I'm at. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you're picking, who you're betting on, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate all the love and support. Come through on Twitch. Watch the fights with me. I will be making some live bets on there on Twitch. I will be tweeting them out on Twitter. I will tweet out all my bets as always. Links are in the caption. Appreciate you. See you next time. Good luck. Win some money. Have fun. Peace.